Hi everybody, Greg Strickland here, Executive Chef at V at Highlands Ranch here in Highlands Ranch, Colorado. Normally you could see the beautiful mountains behind me, but as you may have heard, we're having some wildfires right now in the west, and the smoke is actually sort of obscuring the air. So I'm sorry we don't have a pretty view for you, but just keep us in mind that we do have some fires going on here, and keep us in your thoughts, okay? Today we're going to be making honey glazed pork chop with garden tomato salad and some baby carrots. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. The first thing I want to talk to you about though is honey. All right, and I'm going to introduce you to some of my friends. These are our bees. We'll drop them. Here at V at Highlands Ranch, we have beehives on the roof. We've had them for, this is our second season of having bees. We've gotten some honey from them. The honey is absolutely delicious. It's nice to have local, raw, unfiltered honey from our very own bees that pollinate our very own garden. So I wanted to bring these ladies down so you can meet them. Here it's just basically just some honeycomb here that's partially full. They're all a little upset right now. They wish they were back in their hive and they missed their queen. So I'm going to put them back in just a little bit, but I wanted to show you them so that you can see where we get our honey and why we think it's so cool. Okay? Okay, so first we're going to make our honey glaze. Now once again, local honey is always the best. And here we've got a nice, you can see how thick it is. And what we want to do, we really don't want to adulterate this too much. We just want nice, clean honey flavor. So basically the flavor of the honey is whatever the bees have been harvesting. This time of year, it's a lot of wildflowers. It's some of the stuff from the garden, it's some of our herbs. It has a really nice flavor. Honey that was harvested 50 miles from here might have a different flavor, and I think that's very cool, okay? So we don't really want to change too much here, so we're not going to heat it up, we're not going to cook it, we're just going to add a few ingredients to this, okay? Honey is one of my favorite foods to cook with. It's just a really nice ingredient. It's a great substitute for sugar. I like using it in anything that has sugar in it because it just adds its own flavor to it, okay? We're going to add a little bit of mint, okay? Okay, just a little bit. We don't want it to go crazy. We don't want to lose that great flavor. We're going to add a little bit of lemon zest, okay? And we just got our handy little zester here. So we got our nice lemon zest. Plus a little bit of lemon juice. Again, not too much. Okay. A touch of sesame oil. Okay. Don't want to overpower it. We've got a little bit of sesame seeds. And some black sesame seeds. White and black sesame seeds. They don't really taste all that different, but they're kind of cool when you have them both. So again, we're not cooking this, so we don't want to dilute it too far. We want it to be a glaze. Pork is always really nice with something sweet. I think sweetness tends to accentuate the flavor of pork. Let's give it a touch of salt. Okay. You can always add more salt, but once you've added it, it's in there. And as always, we're going to give that a taste. Okay. That's not bad. Maybe a little more lemon. Okay. See, that was really simple. Nothing to it, just a few ingredients. Some of the best cooking is done that way, that we don't really need a lot of crazy ingredients or a lot of crazy techniques, okay? Now, this is going to go with our pork. Now let me talk a little bit about our pork. The type of pork that we use is called sakura. Sakura is a Japanese word for cherry blossom, okay? It's funny because these are not Japanese pork chops. These are 100% American. They come from Iowa. This is a crossbreed of the White Chester breed and the Duroc breed, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. Duroc is, most of the pork that we eat is from a breed that's called Duroc, and it's a very good breed. They grow very quickly, they grow very large, they produce a lot of good meat. Most of that meat is quite lean. Most of the pork that we serve in this country is Duroc. The problem with Duroc is it's not very interesting. It doesn't have that much marbling, it doesn't have a lot of fat. The flavor is not as interesting as some of the heritage breeds like Berkshire, things like that. Now the trouble with heritage breeds is they taste delicious, they have a lot more fat, they have a lot more flavor, but they don't grow as quickly, they don't grow as large, they're a lot more expensive to produce, and that makes more expensive pork chops. This is a cross between a heritage breed and the Duroc, so we get a little bit of the best of both worlds. And I don't know if you can see this, but when you're looking at it, it looks sort of pink, and that's where the name cherry blossom comes from. When you buy pork chops in the store, they're much more beige and white, and that's probably a Duroc breed. That's because there's a little more blood running through here, and there is definitely marbling running through the pork, okay? A generation ago, everybody wanted everything to be lean. All the pork that we had was lean. We all wanted to avoid fat. However, you can't get away from the fact that fat is flavor. Okay, and a lot of chefs and a lot of consumers really wanted pork that tasted like pork. So, what we're doing here, we're just dredging in a little bit of olive oil and garlic, okay? And we're gonna set that on our grill. Okay. Now we're gonna let that grill while we talk here, and hopefully we don't let it get away from us. Okay. So we want to respect the flavor here. So we've got our nice, very simple honey glaze. We're going to use some of our garden vegetables here. Now here, at Highlands Ranch, we have our very own chef's garden. Okay, and these are some of the vegetables that I picked this morning. Here's some nice tomatoes, all different kinds. We got a few green ones in there. You know what? We're going to keep them. Okay, and this is what we're going to do. Our bigger ones, I'm going to slice in half. Okay. See these little guys here? Look how small they are. We're just going to leave that little one on its own. A couple more of these. I love these little tiny ones. These are called currants. That's not a type of tomato, it's actually just the size of tomato. See, it's how the size of a currant berry. I love those, they're some of my favorites. Let's throw this green one in there too. Green tomatoes are a little bit on the sour side, but don't be afraid of them. Put them in things, they're really good. Okay, so we've got some more tomatoes. We love having these fresh tomatoes like this because we can just go out there and pick them anytime we want. Okay. Now we've got a cucumber from the garden as well. Okay. Not the prettiest cucumber. Well, we just picked it. It's an honest cucumber. Okay. Take some of the peel off. Okay. All right. And really, this sort of recipe will just vary with whatever's good. If the Brandywine tomatoes had been ripe, we would have used them. And if we had some Swiss chard that I've been keeping an eye on, we might have added some of that. But this is what some of the best of what we had. We have some pretty opal basil here. Opal basil is this nice purple basil. It tastes like regular basil, but it has a nice pretty purple color. Let's throw a couple of the regular Thai basils in there. It's kind of hot today. It's starting to wilt a little bit. Okay, excellent. Again, we don't want to go crazy here. We want to have simple flavors. We want to accentuate the freshness of what we have, the bounty of summer. It's a beautiful day in August. We have beautiful produce here. Let's give a little extra virgin olive oil. This is a nice Tuscan olive oil. I like it because it's lighter in color. It doesn't have that really deep, rich green, which we like on some things, but I don't want it to be very strong in this. I want the tomatoes to be the star. So we're using this lighter Tuscan style olive oil. We're going to add a little bit of vinegar. This is just a saffron vinegar that I have. I thought it would go well with this, but it's very, very potent. We don't want to do a lot of it. Let's give it some salt. Okay. We toss that together, and what starts to happen almost immediately, the vinegar and the salt start to pull some of the juices out of these vegetables, and it kind of makes its own sauce. Finally, we're going to add some of our fresh cheese that we've made. Okay, this cheese we make here in house, we call it farmer's cheese. It's basically whole milk, lemon, and salt, and that is it. Okay, we're going to toss all of that together, set that aside. All right. Got to keep things nice and clean here. Let's check our pork. Okay, good. You don't want the pork to be overcooked, okay? The minimum temperature allowed by the FDA on pork chops is 145 degrees, okay? We want to respect that as much as we can, but we don't want to go much further than that, okay? Let's move that off the heat a little bit so we don't overcook. All right. So now, we're going to make some carrots, okay? These are our baby carrots. They didn't come from the garden. Unfortunately, we didn't plant carrots this year. But these are the nice baby ones. They're a lot milder in flavor. Sometimes when you use very large carrots, there's a lot of calcium in it. The calcium tends to taste very bitter. These baby ones are some of my favorites. And we're going to use a little bit of a secret ingredient. This is what we call carrot butter, okay? I love using this when we're doing anything with carrots, and it is literally a mixture of whole butter and carrot juice. And what we do is we take the butter and the juice and we simmer them together for about an hour, and a lot of the flavor of the carrot juice and the beautiful yellow beta-carotene comes out. Beta-carotene is soluble in oil, not water, and so that's how we keep some of our beautiful flavor here. And we don't want to overcook these carrots, so we're going to let them just simmer a little bit. Now what I've done with the carrots is just blanch them slightly. That's how we do it in the kitchen. We don't want to take a raw carrot and try and cook it all the way. That takes a long time, but we don't want to cook something all the way and let it sit. So what we do is we cook something partially, get it most of the way we want it, and then we finish right here in the pan, okay? Now, let's add a touch of garlic to that. Okay, let's add a little bit of salt. And what we're going to do now is just sort of let the carrots simmer in this nice carrot butter so you can see how it's already nice and bright orange. And again, all it really does is gives a little extra flavor and a little extra color. So these are carrot flavored carrots, if you will, okay? And that's just something fun we like to do. It's just sort of a, we like carrot juice, we like carrots, we decided to cook them this way, okay? Now, while that's cooking, I'm gonna check on our pork chop. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Again, what we wanna do, we wanna take it to that minimum temperature, 145, which is about medium, but we don't wanna take it too much further, okay? Obviously, we want everything to be safe, But pork is actually quite safe these days. You don't get a lot of cases of trichinosis that you did in the past, okay? So, you know, let's respect the flavors as much as we can, all right? And finally, what we're gonna do is just take a nice hunk of our, this is Asiago bread that our pastry chef Anna makes for us. We want to respect Anna's bread here. We're going to take this, we're going to brush it with a little bit of pesto. Again, the pesto made right here from our garden basil, okay? And we're going to put that right on the grill. Just a little while, just to give it a little flavor, a little color. Don't burn the carrots. Okay. Beautiful. Now, let's plate. Make a little space here. Okay. We're going to start with a few of our nice carrots, okay? Right here on the plate, nice and brown. Carrots are really good cooked with honey as well, but we don't want to go overboard, okay? We're going to spoon a little bit of our sauce right here on the plate. Off to the side. Okay. Let's bring out the star. Okay. And we're going to give our pork chop a little bit more of our glaze. Again, we want the pork to be the star, we want the honey to be the star. Everything has its own role to play here in this plate. Okay. Finally, we're going to top it with our freshly made garden tomato and cheese salad. I like to have it on top, but I don't like to hide the colors or the flavor or any of the pretty things we have going on here. Okay? A little bit of our bread here. Okay. And let's clean our plate a little bit. And that's it. Very simple, very easy to cook, very quick to cook. I hope you all enjoy this. This is our honey glazed Sakura pork chop with garden tomato salad, pesto grilled bread, and baby carrots.